So it's finally time. We have another Berserk chapter. Not only one either, but another chapter later on the 27th. So we get 2 this month. Hell yeah. And that means it's time to talk about the greatest manga ever written again, which is never a bad thing, especially since I just got back from vacation, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I was gone for like a week. I was up in Alaska. I saw whales. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The last few chapters have been an absolute tease about certain plot points and concepts that it's been kind of bringing up. Last we left off, the Kushan Empire was just barely able to repel an attack by Griffith's army. Roxas infiltrated a council made up of various tribe leaders and even the new emperor in an attempt to cripple their command structure. Not only that, but the realms merged once again, spawning a horde of monsters that flooded the city and started killing everyone in sight. The party was scattered, but they could fend off the beasts. All the while, Silat went toe-to-toe with Roxas, wounding him to the point the demon fled and tried to find a spot in the dark he could hide away inside, choosing to go down into the holding cell that's keeping Guts locked up. The guy, in an absolute daze, recognized the presence of Roxas, and damn near let himself be killed, just holding his head down as the demon went in for an attack, only saved at the last second by Silat, who figured out where Roxas was going and was able to impale him through the throat, seemingly killing him for good. Silat saw that Guts was about to commit suicide, and he was furious, demanding to know why he would just give up like that. But Guts had no answer, simply catatonic as he realized what he was about to do. The chapter ending with a tease that Shrike is now in Falconia. One last hope now that everyone's becoming increasingly aware things are going to get more dire. Even if they won now, there's still a lot of war left to wage, and it will only get harder from here on out, especially with Guts not being at the same level he was before. And this is where the new chapter comes in, building off the previous and showing the consequences of this last battle, along with finally explaining why the name of this arc is the Eastern Exile. So let's stop teasing and get right to it, because there is a lot to talk about. The chapter opens up as the ward Farnese put over the city dissipates, the battle finally won and everyone hesitantly calming down. Serpico and Roderick are proud of her work, feeling as if the danger has already vanished, but the Kushans can't help but feel as if the whole thing was a disaster. They lost a lot of people. Entire swaths of their chiefs and generals are dead. Even if they pick up the pieces, a noticeable gap will be there. Daiba consults the Emperor in their own language, though Silat seems to know what the conversation entails. The rest of the party is clueless, because they obviously don't speak Kushan. It doesn't help that the rest of the Kushans are starting to buckle under the pressure, terrified at the idea of facing another wave of Griffith's army. Silat sees them as basically just cowards, but does recognize that if the chiefs are already panicking, then there's no hope for the war to be fought properly. They'll just tuck tail and run away, like they did with Ganishka. Even Roderick recognizes things quickly went tits up. Everyone simply left to soak in the dread. Still, Roderick makes sure to give praise to Farnese, since her magic was a key factor in why they won in the first place. Little victories and all that. Plus, he's trying to win her over. And I'd say it's working. Good job, Roderick. But this small moment of positivity is shattered when they see a line of Kushan monks walk through the door, and they're reciting a chant in their own language. Following behind them is Guts. They finally took him out of his cell, stumbling around as he follows them. While Roderick and Farnese are shocked that Guts is with them, Serpico recognizes that the men aren't monks, they're sorcerers. This is part of some scheme Daiba is pulling, as the sorcerers bring Guts right up to the old man. Roderick screams for the Kushans to release him, but Silat shuts him down. He explains that the sorcerers are known as the Brahmins, high-ranking mages that even royalty can't just walk up to and order around. Not only that, but the Emperor is in the room as well. They have to respect their rank in this situation, even if it sucks. Roderick is pissed, but he does back down, noting that Guts seems different, almost like he's in a daze, completely silent and passive, which is a far cry from his usual personality. Almost like he's been drugged or put in a trance. Farnese recognizes something about his state, but can do nothing as the sorcerers all surround Guts, forced to just watch as whatever happens, happens. However, Isidro barges in, and he does not care about formalities, already up to his usual shit-talking antics. The Emperor demands Daiba throw the boy out, and all it does is piss the kid off, demanding to know what they're about to do to Guts. The old man doesn't answer, simply asking the Emperor if he can lead the monks on a ritual to give the dead their last rites. A lot of the people in the city are gone, so it's only right to give them this last respect. The Emperor agrees, but he isn't about to just forget Guts, wanting to know what this brute with one eye and one hand is doing there, and who he truly is, since, he's not a monk, or even Kushan. Daiba explains that no, he's not one of them. Instead, he's a criminal, burdened by karma, lost in a drip. What the fuck, dude? This explanation satisfies the Emperor, saying they're free to imprison or kill Guts, whatever they want, but Daiba doesn't stop there, saying that Guts invites evil and catastrophe, even blaming him for the evil that just befell the city. At this point, the rest of the Kushans are panicking, fully buying into the story that Daiba is selling. The Emperor is at a loss for words, and the old man simply points out the mark on Guts' neck, the brand of sacrifice, explaining that it draws demons towards him, killing everything it can. Now the Kushans fully believe the attack was all Guts' fault, that the brand brought Roxas and the demons to them. So the whole thing is because of Guts. Yeah, so Daiba's 100% using Guts as the fall guy here. Maybe he's still pissed about how that last fight turned out. I mean, his back was pretty messed up, and he's old. Still, despite Daiba screwing him over, he suggests that the Emperor shouldn't kill him, saying he has no idea what would happen if a cursed person suddenly died. Still, he'll kill him if the Emperor wants. The uncertainty terrifies the Kushans, instead demanding that Guts be exiled from their lands. The crowd, horrified, repeating the chant to simply get rid of Guts. Daiba accepts the order and leads him away, the rest of the party watching as he's led off by sorcerers. Silat is skeptical, but he does know that the brand means bad news. So with that, and Guts' refusal to fight anymore, any use the guy would have as a soldier for the Empire is long gone. Still, something about the situation doesn't sit right with him, even remembering the experiments that Daiba and Ganishka performed back in Millennium Falcon War. Daiba is a crafty one, somebody you really shouldn't leave alone to his own devices. And they don't. Silat orders his Bakiraka to follow Guts and Daiba, already sensing that something about the situation just doesn't feel right. The rest of the Kushan nobility have turned into a frothing mob, so they won't be any use getting more information anyway. We then cut to the mages. Now safe after the horrors that flooded the city have all vanished. Morta is still keeping watch over Shrike, thinking it's kinda funny she was able to sleep through everything that just happened, and the elder mages are still eccentric, asking when dinner's coming even though they just ate. You know, dementia is a terrible disease. So right now, she's stuck as a glorified babysitter. Still, it's better than being ripped to pieces, though it is tedious. Back with the monks, we see a line of them escorted by soldiers marching out of the Kushan capital, Isidro following not far behind. Wherever they're going, it's a ways away, the city fading into the distance as their pilgrimage begins. Daiba looks back at Guts, who's still stuck in his trance, and this closes out the chapter. So that's 381. It definitely took some turns, that's for sure. A lot got teased with this one, from the state of the Empire after the attack to Daiba's schemes. We all knew the old man was shady, always knowing more than he was letting on, but this flat out confirmed he's thinking far ahead compared to everyone else. And it's really the first time we've directly seen him manipulating others to get what he wants. He painted Guts as the devil to the rest of the Kushans, saying it was his fault for the attack, and that he would burn the whole nation to the ground if he stayed there. But he didn't want Guts dead. Sure, he teased the idea, but then he immediately followed that up with the threat of a calamity if Guts died. Now we know what will happen if he dies. His soul will be dragged into hell, and obviously Daiba knows that as well. Pretty much every sorcerer in the story is well aware of the brand, how it works, and what it does to the one cursed with it. So this story that could cause mass devastation or something bad is obviously Daiba just lying to people that don't know how it works. But that raises the obvious question. Why? Why does Daiba need Guts alive? Not even Silat knows what's going on in his head. He just thought to shove Guts in the military and use him as a shock trooper. But Daiba clearly has something far larger in mind. Considering his extensive knowledge of magic, it makes sense that he probably knows some of the brand's secrets that others don't. Maybe even a way to exploit it for his own gain. Of course, that raises the obvious question. Is Daiba doing this for a greater good, or is he doing this for himself? The guy isn't exactly a saint. A lot of innocent people died while he worked with Ganishka. Even though he recognized it was a terrible sin to help out the literal Demon King, the dude probably isn't going to turn around and donate to orphanages, you know? Now, it's possible that both motivations align. What he wants will also save the world. But it's important to factor in his own motivations, whatever they may be. Because he doesn't give two shits about who Guts is, just that he's useful, and that can go very badly, very quickly. And the obvious question is, what's gonna happen to Guts? Clearly he's been messed with, the sorcerer's chant might be acting as some sort of brainwashing technique, but how extensive is it? Are they simply keeping him passive to take him where they want to go, or are they gonna push it further? Is there a chance he could break out of it, and if he does, what happens? We've already seen that he's lost all will to live, completely consumed in self-hatred to the point he damn near killed himself. Which says a lot about how bad his mental state is considering everything the guy's gone through. Just the idea that Guts, the pillar of strength and perseverance, almost killed himself is a big blow. Of course, there's always the possibility this is exactly what Daiba is trying to fix, to get this mighty warrior to pick up his sword again, because he knows just chucking Guts into the military won't win the war. He's not a rank and file kind of guy, he never was, even when he was with the Band of the Hawk. Guts is the one you send in to do as much damage as humanly possible in as short amount of time as you can. He's a walking tornado. You don't send him to just raid an enemy camp or two, you send him in to turn a castle into rubble. So Daiba might be getting guts out of the hands of the Kushan nobility so he can have his own personal weapon all to himself, since the scale they're dealing with isn't just a typical war between nations. It's far larger in scope and something that the average nobleman in this setting would never understand. To kill Griffith and the rest of the God Hand, they need to avoid conventional warfare, something no doubt Daiba is well aware of considering his history. But this is all speculation. We're not going to know until more is revealed. But it is definitely interesting that Guts was just flat out exiled from the Kushan Empire. It does make sense in retrospect. A while ago, an interview from Yora surfaced where he explained that at some point Guts would be separated from the rest of the party, going off on his own for some reason. It was debated for a while what it would mean or how it would happen, and now I think we finally have the answer. Guts was taken away by force to essentially be fodder for Daiba's plans. Now we don't know what will happen beyond that, if Guts will break free or something will happen that means he's completely alone, but at the very least we have the setup for the idea. Of course, there's still mountains of questions left to answer. Like, is the rest of the party going to try to find him? What's going to happen with Isidro now that he's tailing the sorcerers? Shrike's whole presence in Falconia, what's going to happen there? Silat's following along with the sorcerers as well, so does Rickard have any reaction to this? And obviously, what the hell does Daiba have up his sleeve? There's a lot of threads left to pull, a lot of story left to cover. Now personally, I definitely think whatever journey Daiba has planned isn't going to play out how he wants. Things just have a habit of going tits up in this setting. So whatever he has in mind, he better make it clear and get it done as quickly as possible, because Griffith is just outright testing them now, and already did major damage with Roxas, who does seem to be fully dead. And that raises another point of, how is Griffith gonna react to that? One of his top war demons is dead. This wasn't some random with that name. Roxas was crucial in helping Griffith win the war against the Empire. This was his top assassin, who not only was beaten when trying to kill Rickard, but outright killed when he was sent to assassinate the Kushan's heads of state. It's a very big deal. The first real bump in the road for the guy who specifically rewrote reality to where he got to always win. Already we're seeing the war between Falconia and the Kushans getting very messy, and it's only going to get messier as things escalate. The rabbit hole's getting deeper, Wonderland looks scary, I want to go home. Regardless, that's it for this chapter. The next one's only 2 weeks away, so we'll be able to get some more answers, whatever they may be. But do you know what's not 2 weeks away? Gamer subs, use code TAL at checkout. Use the code. You get points off your gamer subs order. It's good. I'm really congested right now. I got sick. Coming back from vacation, but it's fine. Whatever. Use the code. Use the code. Use the code, or Berserk will go on hiatus again. It'll go on hiatus, and you'll get sick too. Use the code. But it's good to be back, both from vacation and for Berserk to be back. We're gonna hit the ground running here, so we're in for a good summer. You get nice hot weather, plenty of sunshine, and more Berserk chapters. Hell yeah. Until next time, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys. Hey, loser. Do you want a shirt? Do you want a t-shirt? I have shirts now. Look in the description for a link to a t-shirt you can buy. If you don't buy the t-shirt, I'll kill your family. If you don't buy the t-shirt, I'll poison your dog. If you don't buy the t-shirt, you're gonna be the only person in town that does not have a t-shirt. Everyone's gonna look at you funny. There's gonna be social consequences to not having one of these t-shirts. I'm now making express threats of violence against you if you do not buy my t-shirt. I will call the police, tell them how you're not buying my shirt. They're gonna plant crack in your house, and they're gonna arrest you and then beat you up in a jail cell. Buy my shirt.